All right, so picking up from yesterday, there's something called a test cross, and you really just need to know what it is and why we would do one. So the idea of a test cross is that you find an organism that shows the dominant trait. So let's just pretend like cats could be black or white and black is dominant. If this was the case, a black cat could be big B, or big B, little b. We wouldn't know by looking at it because that's the whole idea of dominant, is that even if you have just one copy of the gene, you'll show the trait. So what you do in a test cross is you cross it with a homozygous recessive. So if you look at the scenario here, here's my black cat. If my black cat is big B, if it's purebred, then I should get all black offspring because white offspring would not be possible from this parent. If I cross it with a homozygous recessive and my original cat is heterozygous, then I technically have a 50% chance of white cats, which means I should see at least some white offspring. So that's the whole idea of a test cross. You take an organism that shows the dominant trait, but you're not sure if it's homozygous or heterozygous. Cross it with a homozygous recessive. If all the offspring come out with the dominant trait, you can assume your original was purebred. If any of your offspring come out with the recessive trait, then you can assume your original had to be heterozygous. Also, cats are probably not a great example of this because they don't have lots of offspring. Usually when you see that they performed a test cross, it's with something like fruit flies or pea plants or something that might have 100 or more offspring. So yes, it is possible with cats. You might say, well, couldn't the cat have like only 3 kittens and they all come out black and the cat really is big B, little b? You're right. Yes, absolutely. But for a real test cross, we would probably say that this organism, and cats are not very ideal, obviously, has 100 offspring. If they have 100 offspring, there's no way that you're going to get all black ones if this cat is big B, little b. So keep that in mind that in reality, it would be an organism that has lots of babies. Okay, so what I really wanted to talk about today is what's called a dihybrid cross. So a monohybrid cross is what we've been doing, where you're just looking at one trait at a time. What are the chances of tall versus short? What are the chances of black versus white? But it's a very common scenario that they want to know the chances of 2 traits at one time. In other words, they want you to cross, in this scenario, 2 plants that have yellow round seeds. And they're heterozygous. So they're big Y, little y for yellow, and they're also big R, little r because their seeds are round. And they want to know if I cross 2 of these plants that both have yellow round seeds, what are the chances that they're going to have offspring that also have yellow round seeds? So they're basically asking you for the chance of a particular combination of traits. Now, technically, you could also be asked to do a trihybrid cross or a tetrahybrid cross or whatever to see the chances of more than just 2 traits appearing at the same time. So we're going to start with a dihybrid cross. And if we do this cross, there's 2 possible ways that we can do it. First, we can do it with a Punnett square. So to do it with a Punnett square, remember that the idea of a Punnett square is to represent all the possibilities of sperm and egg that each parent can make. That was really what we were doing with a Punnett square. If I'm big Y, little y, I was saying, oh, well, there's a chance I could give big Y to a sperm or little y to a sperm. So there were 2 possibilities for this parent. So in this scenario, we are actually looking at 2 traits, right? We're looking at the chances of yellow and the chances of round for each parent. And both of the parents were heterozygous. All right. So this parent is going to give 1 copy of Y and 1 copy of R to a sperm or an egg. So that could be big Y with big R, big Y with little r, little y with big R, little y with little r. Again, why am I putting it with 1 Y and 1 R? Because we're representing meiosis, that it's going to give a random copy of Y and a random copy of R. And these are the 4 possible outcomes. Then my other parent is also big Y, little y, big R, little r. So they can also give big Y with big R, big Y with little r, little y with big R, little y with little r. So to solve this using a Punnett square, I actually have to make a 16 box Punnett square. And then you put your Y's and your R's back together. So this offspring would be big Y, big Y, big R, big R. It would be yellow and round. This one would be big Y, big Y, big R, little r. It would also be yellow and round. And you would have to fill in all 16 of these boxes. So again, we're representing all the possible gametes each parent can make. And here's what they're showing. So big Y, big R, little r. They can make this, 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 or this. All of these are possible sperms that this can make. And you were crossing it with another one just like it. This is crossing your F1s. And this one could also make the same 4 possibilities, giving 1 copy of Y and 1 copy of R. Now, my original question was, what are the chances of yellow round? Well, chances of yellow round, we'd have to literally count out of these 16 boxes how many of them are yellow and round. This one's nice because they actually drew a picture of them, but you would have to actually look at each genotype and figure out, is that one yellow round? Is that one yellow round? And your answer is 9 out of the 16 would be yellow and round. So keep that in mind. The answer is yellow and round. Now let me show you a much simpler way to solve this same problem. So we're going to solve it using something called the product rule. So the product rule says that the chance of any 2 events both occurring is the product of their individual chances, meaning you multiply their individual chances together to get the total chances. So we are going to look at the individuals. Now I wrote here, I forgot to fix this. It shouldn't say red flowers and tall plants. We were looking at, if you recall the cross we were doing, we are looking for the chances of yellow and round. Excuse me, not tall and red. So here were our parents. They were heterozygous for yellow and heterozygous for round. We're going to separate out our traits and do just the same exact crosses we were doing yesterday. So we're just going to look at the chances of yellow. So here's our regular old 4-box Punnett square. My chances of yellow, yellow being dominant, is 3/4. So I have a 3/4 chance of yellow. The recessive is green, so it's a 1/4 chance of green. And then we're going to do the chances of round versus wrinkled over here. So we have, big R, we have basically, if I fill this out really quick, a 3/4 chance of round and a 1/4 chance of wrinkled. And now, watch how we solve this. So we want the chance of yellow and round, both of those traits together. So the chances of yellow are 3 out of 4, right? Our chances of round are 3 out of 4. Multiply those, that is our product rule, we get 9/16. The same answer that we got using the Punnett square, but it's much faster. Now, just to show you, what are the chances of yellow and wrinkled? Well, you've already got all the work here. So, yellow and wrinkled, it's a 3/4 chance of yellow. It's a 1/4 chance of wrinkled. So, 3 out of 16. And we could work it out for green and round, and then green and wrinkled, and we could get those as well. So that is how you would solve the same kind of problem, but using the product rule. So let me move along. So these are the 5 questions that I assigned in class. So let's do the first one. What are the chances of these 2 parents making a child with this offspring? Big A, big B, little c, little c. So first we're going to do our A's. So we're crossing big A, little a with big A, big A. Remember, you don't need 4 boxes for this, but you will get the same answer. So our chances of big A are 1 out of 2. Now we're going to do our B's. Big B with little b. And our chances of they want big B are 1 out of 2. And finally, our C's. Big C, little c with big C, little c. Be careful. This is a big C. Big C, big C, big C, little c, big C, little c, little c, little c. They want the chances of little c, which is 1 out of 4. So just to highlight this one, 1/2 chance of big B, and a 1/2 chance of this. So our chances of all three of these things happening would be 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/4, which is 1/16. So that would be the chance of this combination from these two parents. For number 7, they want you to use the same previous cross, so the same two parents, but now they want to know the chances of tall, white, and chubby. So tall, big A is tall, little a is short. So going back, our chances of tall from our cross in number 6 would be all of them, right? They all have at least one big A, so they would all be tall. So if they're all going to be tall, then what you're going to do is you're basically just going to say it's 1 out of 1. You could say 2 out of 2, but what's going to happen is you're going to end up having to reduce your fraction at the end. So the chances of tall are 1. 1 out of 1, all of them are going to be tall. Next, we want the chances of white. So it says here, blue is dominant, white is recessive. So go back up here. This one would be blue, this one would be white. So it's a 1 out of 2 chance of white. And then they want the chances of chubby. And it says here that chubby is dominant and skinny is recessive. So going back to this cross, 3 out of the 4, this one, and this one would all be chubby. So the chances of chubby are 3/4. So the chances of all of these, tall, white, and chubby, from our parents that were used in number 6, would be 3 out of 8. Now, if I skip down to number 9, it is solved the same way. So they want to know the chances of this parent and this parent making this offspring. So it's the same thing again. I'm not going to do every single one of these. Big A, we're crossing big A, little a, with big A, big A. So they want to know the chances from that of big A, it's going to be 1/2. If we work out the chances of big B, it's actually, we're crossing big little with big little. Again, look at the two parents. So the chance of big B, it's only going to be this one 1 out of 4. The chance of big C, if I look at my two parents, again, is going to be 1/2. I'm not going to do the Punnett square for it. D, the chance of big D is going to be 1/2. And for the E's, these are both heterozygous, so it's going to look like this one. Big E is going to be 1/4. When you multiply all of that out, your chances are going to be 1 over 128. So that's how you would solve number 9. Now, number 8 is different. Number 8, they just want to know the chances of making a sperm with the code little a, little b, big C, little d. For this cross, this is not a cross, actually. So they're asking, in other words, what are the chances this parent is going to give little a? Well, they have big A and little a. The chance of giving little a is 1 out of 2. What are the chances it's going to donate a little b? Well, it has big B and little b. It's a 50-50, 1 out of 2. What are the chances of big C? Now be careful here. Notice that this parent is big C. So the only thing they can give is a big C. So 1 out of 1. And then the chance of little d, same thing. They can only give a little d. So 1 out of 1. So it would only be a 1 in 4 chance of making this particular sperm. And this is where that 2 to the n thing comes in that I was talking about. This is why if I said, hey, how many different kinds of sperm could this parent make? It's going to be 2 to the n, where n is the number of heterozygous pairs. Because if they're homozygous, like this, big C, there's no choices there. They can only give big C. So the number of possible sperm that this could make would be 2 squared, because only these two pairs are heterozygous, which is 4. That's it. I could write out the exact 4. Big A with big B, with big C with little d. Little a with little b, with big C and little d. Big A with little b, with big C with little b. And little a with big B, with big C with little d. Those would actually be the 4 sperm that could be made. So that's the way that would work. Now, last but not least, sometimes it is just as fast to do these with a Punnett square. This one can give a copy of big T and little b, or little t and little b. The other parent can give little t with big B or little t with little b. These are the sperm or eggs they can make. Notice it's just 1 T and 1 B. And then you put them back together. So if I put them back together and then I look at the possible outcomes, I would get a 1/4 chance of tall black. This is from this. A 1/4 chance of short